Well, you never know 100%. You will never have 100% certainty, right? At some point in time, you just have to take the leap of faith.
Anta, thank you so much for coming into the studio today. You're our second entrepreneur that we've actually filmed with in the temporary, I keep going to call it the new studio.
Yeah.
It is new, but it's temporary for us for a while.
Looks fabulous.
Thank you. Well, you didn't see the last one, so don't judge us yet. You're obviously with a company called Oro. You are specialising when it comes to fitness, right? And we watched what you guys do, and we saw that you can pick between if you're going to, say, go running or if you're looking for strength training. Where did the whole idea come from? Is this something that you thought was missing from the fitness area? Is it something that you looked for personally yourself, or is it just feedback you got from someone else that, right, I'm going to take on this and do it?
First of all, thank you both for having me here.
Oh,
No
pleasure.
This product was kind of born out of my own frustration. So I used to work in the city for about 11 years. And
in London City?
In London.
Okay.
I was in banking for 11 years. I was an algorithmic trader before. Very different business
completely
profile
different,
to
yeah.
what I'm doing right now. So I've been a runner. I ran the London Marathon several years ago, half marathons. And my frustration was that I could never get access to a running coach when I wanted one. I have a running coach.
Okay.
And I have a young family, and the only times that I can run are like very early on the weekend mornings or late on weekday evenings, and it's very hard to find a coach who would work kind of your schedule, and my schedule was all over the place. And so I thought and I was a big consumer of boutique fitness that's all around the city, and I saw an opportunity to then make this kind of content that's available in boutique fitness classes to everybody on an on-demand basis, to somebody who can't afford to go there either because of time constraints or convenience constraints or price constraints, to then make that kind of content available to anyone and everyone.
A running coach, right? I've never had a running coach. Is that something you do prepping for a marathon, or do you do that just in general to help with your fitness? Where do people usually get running
I was
coaches?
going to ask you, you haven't had a running coach, like how often do you run?
Yeah,
never.
Yeah,
the reason
maybe
you
that's
have a running
why.
Coach, yeah.
So we have a diverse mix right now. So we have more than 50,000 users on our product. Vast majority of them sit in the UK and in Ireland. We are available all across the world. The biggest segment is recreational runners, but we do have people who are training for specific events like a half marathon or a 5K or a 10K. In addition to just providing content as just audio classes, we also provide structured training plans. So we provide a 5K plan or a half marathon plan.
Yeah.
And if you think about how you would get a plan when you signed up for let's say a half marathon, the race organizer would typically give you a PDF plan. I would say, Graham, you need to run an easy paced run on the first day for 25 minutes, and you need to do some endurance intervals on day 2, and then you need to do some strength work on day 3. Now, the hard part is not that you don't know what to do, is to actually motivate yourself to do that 25-minute easy paced run or a 35-minute interval endurance work to keep going. And that's where our product really comes in. So we marry the voice of a coach with music that is curated for the workout. So it's almost like when the coach is screaming in your ear to take your pace up, the beats of the music is going to rise up, and vice versa.
It's all AI though, isn't it? Or is it an actual coach?
It's an actual coach. So it's the voice of an actual coach. Where the AI element comes in is we then understand your preferences based on what you tell us and based on how you communicate with the product. When I say communicate, you might skip a workout halfway through because you didn't either like the voice or the music, and then the system will start to learn based on what might have been the potential reason why you didn't like that particular or complete that workout, and then make more intelligent recommendations.
Can we chat a bit about, obviously, 11 years in the city in a job that's
Stressful,
stressful,
yeah.
but it couldn't be further from what you're doing now. It's so different, right? What was it? And you mentioned you've kids, family and that, and time. When could you say, I'm leaving my city job and going to do this? Because it's always interesting talking to people who made that leap, especially with people with commitments. It's quite tough. When did you know you could leave your full-time job and do this?
Well, you never know 100%. You will never have 100% certainty, right? At some point in time, you just have to take the leap of faith.
Yeah, of course.
So in my case, my father was a first-time entrepreneur, and he wanted me or my brother to take over his business, but I moved over here into finance. My brother is in the States also doing finance, so he ended up selling his business.
What was the business?
It was a manufacturing business based in South India. But anyways, so I always had this kind of urge that I wanted to build something on my own. And once I had my young son, I knew that the clock was ticking against me. Like in a couple of years, I had to worry about school admissions and other expenses and nursery fees and nannies and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of had a chat with my wife and my business partner and said, like, he was in a similar kind of situation. He has a 5-year-old daughter, and we were like, this is our time is running out, so this is now or never. So, and we just took the plunge.
You're in an accelerator at the moment?
That's right.
The NatWest, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
How did you come across that, and how did you get into it?
So it's a great program for any budding entrepreneurs who are looking for an accelerator. I would highly recommend them. So I actually joined them in October 2017. So I was referred to it by a friend who was already part of the accelerator. It's one of the only accelerators where they don't take any equity.
You joined them back in 2017?
Yes.
Okay.
So I joined them in 2017 when my business was actually a different business. At that point in time, I was streaming video workouts to consumers at home. Okay. And I worked with them for 6 months, and then I went back and thought about the business, and I realized that video was not really going to scale as a product because consumers don't want, like for workout, it's very hard to look at something and then go running or so we killed that business and we pivoted into an audio business last year. And then now I've rejoined the program now that my business has grown further, and they're happy to see the progress and take me back in.
Was that down to the program that you were able to see that? Because it's funny, like we've so many entrepreneurs on the show all the time, and what the business idea started off at to what the company actually ended out at. Was it down to the accelerator that was able to actually help you kind of go, look, you're going down one road where no one's looking at a phone while they're out running on the streets. This has to be something that is audio in your ear, that you can give advice and they can communicate back. Was it that really helped, or? It
was a combination. So nobody knows your business better than yourself, right? What other people can help you point towards is ask probing questions as to why you think it is working or not working, which was the case with me when I was with them. And then once I hear those questions, and then I go back to my customers and I was seeing what they were trying to do, and I saw that they were all trying to download this in the gym and trying to use it. And downloading large video files, consuming in the gym was very, very hard. So what we did as a test was to just release, so at that point in time I had already built up 150 classes of video content. Okay. I released 5 classes in audio, just took some of the video classes, changed them around a bit and released 5 audio classes, and within probably 40 days, the consumption on the 5 audio had exceeded the consumption on the video library.
So that's the answer to your question.
Yeah, that was my answer.
Funding wise, you had a successful crowdfunding round. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Overfunded on Crowdcube. Tell us a little bit about the decision, because it's always interesting to hear the thought process behind crowdfunding versus you doing angels. Was that your first round of funding was Crowdcube, or had you already investors?
So I already had some angel investors from my previous experience in the city and from my personal and professional network. And I thought about crowdfunding as a way to then get more investors on board, and also a different class of investors who would also be champions of my product, which is what the crowdfunding platforms aim to do. They help you, especially for a B2C business. It makes sense for you to have your investors as your customers and customers and your investors, and then they can share the love of your product with their friends and family. They feel more part of the same story.
Did you have, because we always hear different tricks and tips and when it comes to crowdfunding, did you have a certain amount ready before you went live? Because it's always interesting to hear, especially with someone who's like hit target, because a lot of people don't know that you need to have at least 40 to 50% of the fund ready to invest straight away the minute the campaign goes live. Did you have that?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I mean, that's a crucial aspect of managing a successful crowdfunding campaign, is to have some of the money already pre-committed. There are so many opportunities out there to today's consumers. They want to see opportunities that are easier for them to filter on, and therefore it's important for them to see that there are already other people who believe in the story and who buy into the mission and the team and what they are doing, and that definitely helps your case.
How much did you have before you? Because the target was what, 260?
Yes.
And how much did you?
We had I think we launched about 170 odd.
okay.
So
So
we
a
had
lot of it,
we had a lot of it already pre-committed.
Yeah.
Some of our existing investors they chipped in and to show further commitment and faith in the
Yeah.
business and in the team, and then we opened it out to the crowd.
The previous investor you had mentioned previously off camera, some of the high profile investors, were they the high profile investors you have, were they pre Crowdcube as well?
Yes, so we have Alex Chesterman, Simon Franks, Stefan Glenzer, people who have exited large successful businesses in the hundreds of millions who have invested with us, and they invested when I changed the business into an audio product back in summer of last year, and they kind of reinforced their commitment again in the crowdfunding campaign.
Just a quick one on those investors, right? So you're taking an idea to them. You were a video when you pivoted, and then you brought the audio version of the business, the revamped version. Was it at that stage with like those investors are so prolific, right? Is it them buying into you? Is it them buying into the idea? They invested in fitness after before? Why do you think they invested? Was it just down to you as an entrepreneur? Or was it the bigger vision for the
I think some of these investors, and this is only my best guess in terms of what their thinking was, is they had been looking at this space, and there have been several players who have tried to enter the space, the most successful of them being Peloton, where you buy a bike for £2,000 in this country and you pay a £39 subscription to spin at home. Right? And my take on that product was because of the high price point of that product, it then limits the reach of that product. Not many people are going to be able to spend £2,000 on a bike and then
Or even have the room for a bike in their house.
and pay £40 a month on top for a subscription. So my pitch to the investors was, what if I made this, and the thing that attracts the most, attracts consumers the most to the Peloton product is the ability to work out anywhere, anytime, and that content. What if we made that kind of content accessible, not just on their own bike, which costs $2,000, but on any spin bike that you could use in your local gym or in your apartment complex gym, or even a bike that you might bought at home, and then also on every single piece of gym equipment that's out there, or even when you're going for a run. That was my pitch, and that, I guess, is what was sold to the investors.
Because I always just find this interesting as well, especially with the level of investors that you've had. What input have they brought to the table? Because I know, like, we always talk about smart money, and money's money, right? But you also want someone on board who understands where you're going and can bring some advice and some help. Have you had any real nice piece of nuggets? Because they're like pretty big investors. Have any of them been able to like really advise you on where you should take this, or things you should do, or changes and tweaks in a business plan?
Absolutely. So I've had different investors have different means of operating. I've had very probing conversations with some of them in terms of where I'm trying to take the business. Now we're starting to work with some.
And they might not agree.
They might not agree, right? So we're starting to work with some gym partners for now. So we are trying to work with gyms to essentially use this product as a means for the gyms to reduce churn in their business. And that's one of the things that one of my investors brought about. And they have also opened up new doors in terms of other business opportunities or partnerships and so on. So they are it's much more than the money that when you bring these kind of profile of investors.
Absolutely, because I saw one of your running coaches actually a trainer at Barry's Boot Camp.
That's right.
So is that the plan to get this into the likes of Barry's Boot Camp as well?
That's not quite the plan. I mean, I would love to work with a brand like that. We want to work with coaches who are famous or who are really good at what they do, and that's the value of the product.
Maybe endorsing it.
Yes. What a product like Barry's allows you to do is to give you a high quality experience in the room, but not many people may be able to experience it, either because they're not in London or they're traveling. And what our product allows them to do is to access the similar type of content on the go whenever they want it.
Yeah, because obviously you're in Barry's Boot Camp and there's someone there all the time, keep going, and that's just bringing that anywhere is genius. But look, thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it. Maybe I'll finally have a running coach.
Sit
on the couch.
Off the couch. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you so much, Graham and Mark, for having me.
Thank you.
Cheers.